Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We want to discuss some things that has been happening during the time of us going along our journey and experiences with people, places, and things. And so I want to start off by talking a little bit about your own personal relationship in the IFA tradition, because it's spirituality. So no one can really tell you the right and wrong way to go about things when you develop your relationship with your Orishas. What I'm learning and what we are learning is that everybody does things differently, but it's the same, if that makes sense. And so I want to start off by sharing a little bit about how I've been doing, how we've been doing our offerings, and how we've been getting results, and we've been able to connect with our Orishas. So basically, thank you, this is good. So basically, we start off on the first day of the week. It really doesn't necessarily have to be a specific day of the week, but for Elegwa, for our issue, we do Monday, we give offerings, black coffee, cigar smoke, and cigar candy, dried fish or smoked fish, palm oil for Ogun, and also for our issue Elegwa. We also do we do the opi with the cola nuts, and I'm learning how to do it with the shells, the cowrie shells. We can do it with the coconut, but it just takes so much time to actually open up the coconut unless you have the right tools.
And then they have to be readily available. So where we live at in northern part of the U.S., it's hard to get coconuts. We only get coconuts during the summer season. So even Whole Foods or Fresh Market, we don't get coconuts readily. So we only can have them for the summertime. Cola nuts, we have to order them from a specific store to get them shipped here. It's hard just getting them, period, in the U.S., unless you in a port city or a city or a state that borders the ocean or something where constantly stuff come in, African goods come in. We do not live there. Our offerings, you give the offerings because you give honor, you give respect, and you're constantly asking them to enlighten you, but just give them something in thanks just for being part of your life.
And I also forgot to say libation, basically spraying them with the gin or the brandy, the rum, whatever they require. So that's really important because they do like that. And I didn't really understand the concept, but I think it's libation is because the way that you connect with them and you're giving reverence and honor to them. So that's another way to go before them and honor them, and then you make your request. I do want to share that I guess people do it differently in each tradition in terms of what they receive when they get their warriors or the hand of Ifa. So there was an experience with a close relative. I really won't be specific, but a close relative in my family. And that situation was where they felt like they wanted to get, first of all, they wanted to go to someone so that they can get help, so that they wouldn't go to jail, this particular person. And through a connection, they were able to connect with my godparents, our godparents, and the ones we have in Texas. And from that particular connection, developed a relationship from one of my other family members. And I'll just say my daughter. And when we went down there, I felt this feeling. So let me just go back. So my daughter wanted to reach out for help for someone in our family that needed assistance with them not going to prison. So I gave her my godmother's number so that she could reach out to my godmother for that particular person, and they can go from there. Well, she and my godmother developed their own relationship, and my godmother gave her a reading and told her that her hand of IFA was done wrong. And so going back to what I was saying, it turns out that she didn't have her Orisha rock. So I guess the way they're born is, first there's a sacred rock that's in the pot with the ikings, and of course they go through the sacrifices with the blood offerings and everything, the songs, the rituals, the whole shebang. So I guess that part was missing, and she had extra ikings. And so when she went down there, we went down there together. It was me, her, and my grandbaby, and we flew on a plane. And I was praying that everything goes well, because I know sometimes things can be misconstrued. And my daughter, she's kind of sensitive sometimes when it comes to certain things. So I have to be very careful how I communicate with her, because she's sensitive. So when we got there, I just had this feeling when my godmother opened up the door. I just didn't feel myself for some reason. I had this feeling, because I'm very intuitive and I'm an empath, and I had the feeling that something just wasn't right. I couldn't make out what it was, but we went down there. The times we stayed down there for 4 days. We missed our flight, so I think we probably stayed down there for 5 days. When it was time to come back, it was just a lot of stuff going on. And while we were down there, my daughter, she was going through her ceremony, and I know that with me and my significant other, when we were down there was one process that was missed, and in that process I brought it up and I said, well, this was forgotten, we forgot to do this one little small part. And I shared it with one of the other ladies, because they were in the room doing another ceremony, because she had to get she wanted to get Olokun and issue Alaye, and so that's why it took so long. And so that situation kind of made her a little teary, because she was like, well, I just found out that the hand of Ifa from my other people were done wrong. How could they miss this? And I told her, I said, well, they're very busy. It could just be something really simple. And I tried to make her feel more comfortable about it. And so the price that she got from my godmother to do the Olokun or the issue of Alaye, I forgot which one. I know she did both of those and the hand of Ifa. That was a little high. And so she was talking to someone back home, and they were telling her, oh, it's different. It's way cheaper here. And so my godmother, I called my godmother in the room, and I said, well, is there any way you can work out a different price for her? Because this is a little steep. We're finding out that it's this price here down at home. So she says, well, we're in Texas and things are more expensive. But from what we're learning is that, or what we knew, is that livestock down there, it comes a dime a dozen, so it's not expensive like that. It's more expensive here because it's very hard to get to. Mm-hmm. It's not a lot of livestock here. It's a lot of livestock here, but it's just more, the market is more readily available down there because it's bigger and it's out in the south, and down here up north in Ohio it's not readily available as easy as it is in Texas. So that's how I'm going to say that. And so she told my daughter, she says, well, if I'm going to be your godmother, you have to trust what I tell you and not go back and ask people all these questions like you're second guessing me. And I said to her, I said, well, is there any way that you could help her with this price? Because that's a little steep, and she's already doing this and that, blah, blah, blah. So she said, yeah, we'll work it out like that. So I noticed throughout the time that I was down there, my daughter, she had, after her ceremonies was over with, she wound up going to visit one of her cousins down there in Texas that she knew on her dad's side. And I stayed there with the baby. No, I was there by myself because she took the baby the first time. And it was my godmother and the padrino. And so, there was some things I wanted to ask the padrino, because like you guys know, a while ago, it took them 2 months to connect with us. So I guess she was very aggravated with the fact that I was asking if she could ask Padrino a question. So she kind of snapped a little bit and was snobby. And I just went to bed. I let it go. And so before that happened, there was some stuff going on in my house. My youngest son, my only son, he's only 16, but he was here. And my daughter came over, my 20-year-old daughter came over. And they had drama. They were arguing, and it was just like a lot of stuff going on here. And I didn't like the fact that she threatened my son, her brother. So I was nervous about it. I always get nervous when kids fight and argue, especially if I'm not here. So my daughter was there at the time when this particular situation happened. So we were watching everything on the camera because I have cameras here in my house. And I asked the godmother, I said, we need to pray like that. And so she was sitting on the couch on her phone looking at Facebook. The Bible out, our Padrino was outside. This was when he was still doing my daughter's ceremony in the back. I guess he was like finishing up or something. And my daughter was here. Or either he was cleaning up, he was doing something. And so the godmother said, you guys can go pray. So we went into the room where they have their Orishas and we prayed. And I kind of felt aggravated because you're sitting there on the phone and I'm telling you I need you as your goddaughter. And she didn't budge. So later on when we went to the airport, well, I'll save that part for later. So then my daughter had left, and then that's when she had snapped. So that was that. So later on that night, my daughter came back when she went to go see her cousin, and she was packing up her suitcase to put all of her Orishas in and wrapping it up and everything, get ready so that we wouldn't have any problems through customs. And so I couldn't sleep because it was a lot of noise. So I got up when she was about to get ready to go to bed, and I wanted to call him because he was out driving a truck. He's driving a truck now. And so I went in the car. My daughter called me and she goes, what's wrong? And I said, well, I'm a little aggravated because she snapped on me when I was asking questions. And, you know, it just was aggravating. But also before my daughter went to bed, before the ceremony was over with, they had went to the ocean to drop off some stuff for Olokun, and I stayed behind. She said it was some stuff that they had to drop off, and me and the baby couldn't go because technically she wasn't supposed to go. I guess after the ceremony was over with, when you're releasing something, it's not good to have people around. I know I'm jumping all over the place, but I'm just trying to keep up with how it's coming to me. And so I'm putting this part in there because that's when our Padrino gave my daughter her Odu, and it was in a Dropbox format, so she could read it. If she scrolled all the way down, she could read it in English. And so I was like, oh, that's nice. I'm glad they gave you yours. They didn't give us ours. So I simply said, well, she said I was going to make sure that Madrina gave you yours and get Virgil's. So that was that. And so she gave us ours eventually, and that was that. But I was a little aggravated when I was in a car because I was like, we had to go through all that time waiting around, and she could have just did the same thing that she did for my daughter. You know, she could have gave it to us. We could have had our Odu a long time ago, because a lot of times when they do, you read your destiny reading, they don't read it, they just talk it. They was talking it. They was saying everything. I guess they might have read it, and then they put it in their own words, whoever was translating. And so there was some things on there that I missed that they didn't share with me. Like, I can't have anything that has to do with snails. I don't eat snails anyway. I can't cut down wood, and it's just certain things I can't do. But we want to have that. And even though we had our little tag with the lines and stuff on it that talked about what our sign was and our Odu, so whenever we had the book we could look it up, but we actually have it in our Dropbox now, so that was great. And so she had been really interacting with my daughter. They subscribed to each other's Facebook. Padrino gave me his Facebook that day, but I'm thinking to myself, she connected herself so quickly with my daughter, and my daughter came down there with like a lot of money, and I don't know what that was about, and I just was uncomfortable with it. And not to mention, I brought my daughter to you and you snapped on me, and I know it might sound a little immature probably on my part, But I was like, I don't want to talk to her anymore. I was like really, really pissed. So when we got to the airport, my daughter was upset because it was so much stuff going on at the airport. My daughter was moving so fast, and we were about to miss our flight because she overslept, I overslept. And so when we got there, we got out the car. My daughter literally left the rental car in the middle of the parking lot, not in a parking spot. And we were running, trying to go get to our plane. It was way on the other side of the airport, because Texas airport this was the George Bush Airport, International Airport. And the rental car place, we went to Avis, and it was like way on the other side, so we had to hurry up and leave. So it's one of those cars that we had where you actually don't have to put the key in the ignition. You push the button, and if you have the key somewhere in the car, it just starts. So I did not know I had the car keys in my hand, and I get on the bus to go back to the airport with her to our gate. The guy chases us down and says, oh, you're gonna have to pay, we don't have the key. And then when the bus pulls off, I realized I had the key in my hand with the blanket, all other kind of stuff. My daughter started crying. She was upset with me. She caused the madrina, crying to the madrina. And so when we get to the airport, we go over to the rental place, or we go somewhere, and she tells them about the situation about me forgetting the key. So I called the madrina because we had missed our flight at that time, and we were trying to get another rental car. And so she was like, I don't want to hear it. I don't have time for this drama. She just snapped on me again. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. That was her third time, her second time snapping on me, maybe third time, I don't know. And so I texted her after that. I said, hey, no problem. We don't have to come to your house, because I think my daughter had called her and asked her, could we come to her house because we missed our flight. So she calls my daughter, and she says, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why she got mad at me, because she had her on speaker. She says, but this is a spiritual house. This is a religious house, and she don't run shit. And I'm like, what? Oh my God, I couldn't believe that she actually said that. That was like so way over my head, because I'm like, when did I try to run your house, and why would I do that? And she's saying this to my daughter, whom she just met and befriended so quickly. So I made a decision that I wasn't going to really deal with her like that, because I just saw the difference between how she treated my daughter versus how she treated me and my significant other. And I'm bringing my daughter to you, and because my daughter is getting all these other Orishas done, you and her are clinging to each other, and it's just like, it behooves me. But I don't know what the issue is with that. It's like my daughter and I, we have a really good relationship, but it hasn't always been like that. And every spiritual person that comes into her life, she meets them through me. She met another lady from the Botanica store. She got really close to her. And it's just a lot with these situations. So I'm kind of looking at it from a different standpoint, as to not feel like I need to put all the blame on the madrina, because I don't know what my daughter told her. And I don't know, like I said, my daughter's real sensitive. And so now I have actually met a young lady. She's been in the tradition for 30 years. Now this particular young lady, she was with my first Baba, our first Baba, who gave us our Ilekes. And turns out that he was not supposed to do our ceremony the way he did our ceremony. And you guys were right. Some people told us about that. And so it was pretty much a little, he was a little out of line with doing certain things, and when he should have had a lady there, a Ianifa, to do my Ilekes. But he was there. My significant other was there. So we were pretty much witnesses for the ceremony. And he did everything right, but he wasn't supposed to do it himself. But because we wanted our stuff so bad, he went on ahead and did it. But still, he should have had somebody else there with him to do it, to pretty much do a specific ceremony done for me. And within that ceremony, there's a lot of different things you're supposed to do with that. So this particular lady, she's originally from his house. Well, she stopped going and being a part of his house They were in the same house together, but she had a situation with her spiritual godmother and wound up being on her own for a while. And then she, I guess, got with another spiritual house. And so she's 30 years in the tradition. She's a Oshunstress is what they call it, and an Ianifa priestess. And so today I get a chance to meet with her. We're just going to do a general reading to see if, you know, maybe what's going on, because it's just a lot of confusion going on, and I guess it has a lot to do with just going from people to people, but it's not really that for me. It's the fact that there was a little confusion with my godmother and I brought my daughter in the mix, and she definitely rubbed me the wrong way, the lady Madrina, and I just don't understand it. So we've been pretty much on our own. She never really reaches back out to him. He had a question about his old dude. He didn't respond. She never responds to me really when I was asking a question for him, because I made a decision not to ask her anything else. But she's on my daughter's Facebook page, liking everything she posts. She likes stuff I post too, so she's privy to being able to text back to phone, to like a message or something. But she just doesn't. And so the lady was saying, well, if she's not responding to you, she's not really trying to be your godmother anyway. So we're not interested in just jumping to another house. We want to give ourselves a chance to study with people, with this lady, get a chance to know her personality, because that's very important. Because people can show you who they are on the surface of things, but when you start to get close to them and learn who they really are, the two might not mix. I didn't know that if I called the godmother early in the morning, she would literally go off the handle, because that was her excuse. When we wound up sitting down at the table, we did have a chance to sit down at the table when we got to her house, because we wound up going to her house, but I still booked a hotel room. And so the padrino called a meeting, the godparents in Texas, they called a meeting before we got back on the flight to come to Cleveland, and we sat down and had a conversation. And I won't go into details about that, but long story short, I said what I had to say at that moment just to kind of create the peace. They asked me if I still wanted to be a part of their house. My daughter did, and I said yes, because she said, if you're not a part of the house, I'm not a part of the house. But because she had spent so much money, I didn't want her to feel like you came down there for nothing, because she would have been mad at me for that. So I just wound up saying, okay, yeah. I didn't want to be petty and just say, you know, I don't want to be a part of the house, because she really was disrespecting me in front of my daughter. But when I thought about it, I just felt uncomfortable with it. So I know me. I'm 44. This lady's 3 years in the tradition. Her Baba, the padrino, he is been in the tradition since he was born, and they just recently met at her store. And so they're boyfriend and girlfriend for 9 months, and they formed an Ile together. So he brings his people, she brings her people when they have big gatherings, and they have their own house together. But that's that. So I made a decision to maybe get with someone else that's been in the tradition for longer, and because I know people will rub you the wrong way, but that just really behooves me because of how everything started. And so there's more to the story. I won't really go into detail about it, but there's reasons why I kind of just really feel like it's, you know, it's really not going to work out for me. Things won't be the same, because I don't really trust that things will be the same. And so as far as the reason why we talked about the offerings and what to give them, is because now we're pretty much on our own. We don't really have our godparents, because they're doing the same thing they did when we first went down there. They're really not interacting. I don't really text the padrino because he speaks Spanish, and it's
really just the
lady.
Yeah, it's really her. It's really her she's picking winners and losers in the situation. And if you're supposed to be a godmother and you brought us in, regardless to your feelings, you're supposed to be able to sit down with somebody and talk to them. You do not bring nobody into, you don't bring nobody into this way of life and just give them something and say sink or swim. Now, you knew about us living in Ohio before we even came down there. You knew about us when we came down there for the elect. You knew about everything. So everything to you is you were truly working the religion. And it's a lot of people that work the religion just to make some money. Now, when you read, when
I want to tell them about what you mean with winners and losers. When he say winners and losers, my daughter literally had thousands of dollars with her. When we first went down there, we just paid for our hand at the IFA. We didn't want anything extra. And the fact that she knows my daughter has certain things going on in her life, and my daughter is a very I hate to interrupt, but I have to say this. My daughter she could sometimes mentally be unavailable with a conscious mind of what she's doing when it comes to spending money. So she just spends money, and literally throws it at people. And this woman seen that and pretty much picked her as a winner versus us. We're not always calling down there to do everything. My daughter got a chance to talk with her, did some abos, sent money in advance, and then spent extra money when she was down there.
Also, when I say picking winners or losers, you have, for instance, I've always had anger issues. That's takes time to get away from. But if you're gonna take somebody in as your godchild, that's something that you, as a person, as a head of a house or part of the head of the house, you're supposed to be working with that person so that that person does not let those issues destroy them. And instead of being steadfast and picking winners and losers, because we don't speak Spanish. I used to. It's like, I lost it, but I'm regaining it because I'm never going to put myself back into a situation like this. I'm going to go to Cuba one day and go do all that. I'm going to be able to hear word for word and understand word for word what somebody is saying. But you're not supposed to do that. And because of my Odu in the English part, I know that I'm destined for a little bit more. And if things go as planned, I would never do that to none of my godchildren. I would never do that. Because
we are going to go and do the big chop thing. We're going to
we're going to do all
We're going to be Ianifa and Babalao one day.
And you looking at a person who said, I don't want to do it. But every time I say, I don't want to do something, Destiny has said, no, this is what we got you for.
Because we need to make sure this don't happen to people.
You don't do this to nobody. Even if you sit up here and you throw a sales pitch, because that's what it was with her. And it's not even Padrino, because he does not know what's going on. Everybody has to go through her in order to get to him. So that's why I call her the gatekeeper. Because if he knew everything that was going on, immediately he would get on her about that.
But so I'm pretty sure that this has happened to somebody else before, because I know she's not telling him everything. When me and her fell out, I know she didn't go to him and say, well, I snapped at her at Rini, because she calls me Rini. I snapped at Rini and that type of stuff. When people snap at me and get smart with me and sassy, it makes me want to fight. And I said that. And I'm pretty sure she told Padrino I just wanted to fight, because she responded with me too.
She don't tell everything to everybody. She don't tell everything because she's not going to make herself, look like she's innocent. And at the end of all the thing, if he says that I want my godchildren, you as his mate.
He calls him his godson.
If you as his mate and as his partner in this elay, you supposed to make sure that he's satisfied with this. You supposed to make sure this go through regardless to your feelings. So you have me blocked on your phone. I did
she
nothing
blocked him for
wrong,
no reason.
Nothing wrong to her.
She blocked him because when her and my daughter, you gonna tell it?
No, I'm not even going that far. No.
Okay. There's other reasons.
It's other reasons behind the scene, and at the end of the day, you do not. You have to know who you're dealing with, and who you're dealing with. Keep your faith going, because the Orishas ain't got nothing to do with how this woman is being a gatekeeper.
Right.
Because we're still being blessed. We're still moving forward. Everything's still, you're not stopping nothing. Mm-mm. And the thing is, what everybody's Odu and reading is. You know what's the things that's to come.
Right.
So why would you stop that in your own Elay to make it bigger and better?
Right.
Instead of you having people as your godchildren and being you making enemies. You making people not even want to be bothered with you, who wish ill against you. I'm not gonna wish ill against you, because guess what? My blessings ain't stopping because of you.
Right.
You not stopping these Orishas from helping us. You just showing how long you just cutting your Elay shorter and shorter, because like she said, this has happened to somebody. It had happened to somebody
and
else.
She's only been 3 years in the tradition.
She's literally working it. It's for the money.
She told me that her family doesn't work the religion, but she does. So she's working the religion. That's just what it is. And she found a vulnerable person who just tossed money around, pretty much, what she feels is a vulnerable person. But my daughter is nothing to mess with, though. If she figure it out eventually, and I try to, you know, explain to her that to do things a certain way, but she felt like, because I went through to her, because we went through to the lady, that the lady is trustworthy, and I thought so too. But I said at that table, I told her, I said, I don't know you like that, so I don't know when someone calls you and wake you up in the morning, you snap. I don't know you, I just met you. So it's like, you know, my daughter, she wants everything to be, you know, a big happy family, because I brought her down there and she needed some things taken care of for her life. And she was told that it was done wrong with the first people. She just wants to do the right thing for her and the baby, and I respect that. But I'm not going to have anyone sitting here disrespecting me in front of my child, or even if my child isn't there, and then treating us differently because we didn't talk to you for 2 months. You didn't send us not one Odu, but you have time to sit there on Facebook and like pictures and stuff like that. Now we're all Facebook friends, but it's like,
no, we all not Facebook.
Except for him. He wasn't there, so they didn't the same, because he wasn't with us down there. If I wouldn't have went with my daughter, I wouldn't be Facebook friends with her either, or Padrino. So it's just, you guys,
it's just you gotta literally stick to what everybody's saying. Research your people. You're not going to find out everything from people's elays or whatever. You're just going to have to just go with your spirit, period. If your spirit says don't do it, then don't do it.
Right.
Because I am so not in a hurry. I'm going to learn everything I need to learn, and I'm not doing that no more.
We're not rushing. This lady who we're going to be getting a reading with, I'm getting mine done today. So basically, I'm not going to be rushing. I'm getting my reading done today. He's going to get his reading done another time. But it's like, you know, I'm going to study with this lady. I'm going to go to her house to have like sessions and get a chance to be around her house, the people in her house. And I'm not going to rush and want to become her goddaughter. I'm going to work with her constantly and see how she does things first, and get a chance to pick up on whatever energy I can pick up, see how her house is. It could be a house full of drama. I don't know. I don't want that, but I doubt it. But you know, I don't know everything.
We wish for the best that
right.
that this is we walking into, but definitely going to read the energy. You can tell when somebody's being genuine and when somebody, you know, is putting up a facade, and you have to be able to read everybody, because eventually the more time you spend around people are eventually going to open up, and that's going to take time. When I originally planned to do, as she says, the big chop, it was supposed to be around the same time that I got my my hand at IFA, but I'm gonna wait. I'm not in no hurry, because I got a lot of things in my Odu that I need to be taken care of first, and honestly, I don't have the time nor the patience to be dealing with people who pick and choose winners. And it's not even about money. It's just that you just picking people just who you want to deal with. It's in your eyes and in everybody's eyes, and anybody who's just outside looking in. It's a numbers game for you. You know, it's a numbers game. Anybody can throw around money. I just refuse to just give up. I refuse just to give up my money. I'm very stickler on money because I got goals and things to take care of to better, you know, our situation. I'm not going to just give it up just because you say, hey, guess what? You need to do this right quick. Well, why do I need to do this? Give me the reason why I need to do this. And how long do I need to do this? You told me that you honestly, this Elaine literally put us in a little bit of a financial bind because of the communication. If she would have came right behind them, and when I asked questions, instead of waiting a month, you can call me and say, hey, you still gotta, you know, you still owe us a little something. Even if I said, well, I can't, I'm doing this, I explained to you the situation, you should have said, well, no, that was wrong.
Yeah, no, nothing about that.
Well, that's fine. This is what I'm saying. You should have explained it better. Especially if you know it was explained wrong to us. You put us in a financial bind. So now that everything is being caught up in it, I learned my lesson. It's a lesson learned. So you truly have to learn IFA on your own. And then if you have any questions, ask truly people who's in love with the tradition, not for just a financial gain, but who just love the tradition because they in love with it. And they live it. They live by the principles, they owe dues and all of that stuff. And they're willing to help. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. And the more you give your offerings, you know, we have joy with giving our offerings. It's just such a beautiful thing. I'm gonna do a video eventually on how I do my offerings and how it's been working. You know, the Orishas, they are, you know, I just found out that I knew Ishu had medicine in Ishu. I knew it. In fact, I should grab my Ishu so I could show them. But Ishu has medicine in a little ceramic head thing. It's medicine in the Ishu. And some people break that Ishu and use the medicine. I don't know how they use it, but I'm not breaking mines. I don't really know how to do it, but I'm just learning so much. And I'll put in this video a picture of the book that we are studying out of currently. And yeah, you guys can feel free to ask us questions. If you guys are interested in studying with us, let us know. You know, I'll put my email down in the description link below. You guys could send an email to me and we can communicate via email or by phone or by Zoom. We're not charging anything. We're just trying to get more inclined with what we're learning. We're just trying to develop more of a steady foundation without having to go through people that are just interested in getting money. You know, we have to make our own community out here with people who are like-minded, because we don't want to be fooled. It's people who are struggling. I know one lady in the comments was talking about her godfather wanting to say that he was her husband and wanting to be intimate with her, and then us hearing rumors about a situation with someone that we know trying to sleep with one of their goddaughters, you know. And it's just a lot of stuff going on here, and you go to people for spiritual guidance and then they let you down. We all have to know that they're human. But I gotta get out of here, you guys. Thank you for taking the time out to stop by and hang out with us and watch our videos. If you have any questions or any comments that you wish to share with us, drop them in the description box below. I don't know, I'm just gonna say, just be you. Whatever you want to say, we're not going to be sensitive about the situation. Just, you're more than welcome to put what's on your heart down there. Maybe it's a message that we need to know. Maybe you guys have some information to share with us. maybe you guys want to study with us, whatever. But you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Peace, love, and blessings, guides and goddesses, moons and suns. Moon represents feminine energy and sun represents masculine energy, right?
Ashe.
Ashe.